We got Minecraft, Tomb Raider, and The Last of Us, and other video games. Let's talk. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Couch Soups here, and today is Friday, April 11th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. I'm not actually starting with any of those major IPs, because I got two brand new video games that launched this week that I am very excited to talk about. The first one is called Blueprints. It's been on my mind for the last couple months, as I saw a fun kind of roguelike puzzle game, which had like you drafting rooms, and it's been on my mind for quite some time and is now finally out. It's currently rated at 93 on Metacritic. Everybody is eating up the gameplay and all the unique puzzles. Some people are saying it's very Oberdin like, where you've got to go in with like a notepad or like mist and like really uncover some like really big, deep puzzles, and that like maybe the ending isn't the ending. Um, so yeah, it's a fun puzzle game that I've been looking forward to for quite some time, and it's getting rave reviews. It's also part of PS Plus Extra if you want to play that, or it's on. I think it's on Game Pass. I'll have to double check that one. Um, but yeah, there's a couple different avenues that if you're part of certain subscription services, you might already have access to it. But I'll be playing it on PC when I play it, so I'll be looking forward to that. But yeah, it's the highest rated game of the year. Some people are already starting to say, is it a game of the year contender? So yeah, looking forward to seeing more and getting more time playing that game. So enjoying my first few hours with it as well. Another game that also launched this week is South of Midnight. I've been talking about this one for a while. It's the latest game from Compulsion, which is the studio that did We Happy Few, which is very atmospheric and has an awesome setting. And that's very similar to South of Midnight, which has an awesome setting and is very atmospheric. I'm a few hours into that one as well. It's got a 77 Metacritic. So a little bit hit or miss. Some people think this. I'm hearing the story is really great, and I'm really liking the story aspect of it. Gameplay seems a little subpar, and I think that's why the Metacritic might be a little bit lower. But yeah, for what we like about Compulsion games is that it's very atmospheric. The southern twang is like all throughout it, is layered in everywhere. The kind of story of like mysticism and how your character is slowly building up more and more powers. It seems really compelling. So it'd be interesting to kind of see what's at the end of this strand, if you will. Moving right along, the Triple I showcase, which I don't know that I keep track of these too much, but this is apparently a thing that happens pretty regularly. That was this week, and it talked about a lot of indie games. Some pretty big ones that you've heard of that have new content coming, like Vampire Survivors and V Rising, both had pretty big updates coming out, as well as some games being announced and being dated, and first time we're seeing some of them. So one of them is Rematch that was talked about this week. This is the soccer game by the developers who did Sifu. So pretty interesting pivot there from a first person recursive game, or not first person, like a third person fighting recursive game to soccer. So we'll see how interesting this soccer game could be. I'm also excited about The Alters, which has got a confirmed release date of June 13th. So looking forward to that. There's another couple announcements like Tears of Metal, which was like a Scottish kind of slasher game, which you've got, two things I already love. And then there was another 4-player survival game called Frost Trail. I was like playing multiplayer survival games with my friends, so maybe we can survive the post-apocalyptic winter. It should be fun. So a lot of games announced at the Triple I showcase. Let me know if you feel I forgot any down below. Not probably a pretty big prediction, but something I've been talking about for quite some time. The Minecraft movie launched last week, and like I said last week, it and was confirmed this week. The box office was amazing for it. It made over $300 million, which makes it the biggest video game box office opening weekend ever, above Super Mario Brothers from a couple years ago. So yeah, I guarantee you there is a second one in production as we speak. And even though it's like super low rated, I think like the Metacritic's like 40 to 50 or somewhere in that range. Even the consumer score is freaking low. So But it made all the money. It also had a bunch of crazy people in the theaters, like throwing popcorns and with live chickens and stuff. So, yeah, apparently millennials or even probably millennials, maybe younger, are going crazy for this movie. So, and it's a family movie. Probably the only one in theaters for the next few months. So, I can definitely see this one having some legs on it and getting some ridiculous numbers as far as total box office is concerned. Saw a pretty cool Newzoo report this week talking about how PC gamers, while you would typically associate them with being hardcore and you know the best platform to play on for like hardcore shooters and MOBA games is for PC, but it turns out the Newzoo report says that they play less competitive games than platform players, which is interesting. Console players, which is interesting. Um, I think it has. I think the next logical step is to think that the breadth of video games favors non-competitive games, and the amount of games that people have access to on the PC, the library of games is massive. So I do think that as far as quantity is concerned, quantity of games that you could be playing, I think a majority of them are not competitive games, and a lot of those, probably most of those, are available on PC. But I do, there's obviously a majority of people who exclusively play those like hardcore competitive games, and they're probably mostly on PC. But there's two little dichotomies going on there, so pretty interesting stuff there. But yeah, PC gamers maybe not as hardcore as you thought they were. There is a Tomb Raider board game coming to Kickstarter next month, and I'm always excited for IP plays and board games. So, having owning a copy of the Witcher board game and This War is Mine, I really do like. I think I have the Deep Red Galactic board game. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in a video game adaptation into a board game. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with Tomb Raider and how multiple people play it. Isn't it just Laura Croft? Like she's the main character? Anyway, I digress. And moving right along. Um, to celebrate the launch of season 2 of The Last of Us, there is a Last of Us double feature collector's edition coming for both The Last of Us Part 1 and The Last of Us Part 2. They'll both be on PlayStation 5, and that collection will cost you $110. So, yeah, if you haven't played The Last of Us since PS4, like I have, you can get both The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 in this fancy new collector's edition, or collection. Speaking of The Last of Us Season 2, it hasn't even launched for the public to consume yet, as that will be this Sunday. But Season 3 has already been confirmed. So I mean, I think I've heard kind of the showrunners and all that kind of stuff talk about the 3 season arc that they've already wanted to build. So I think they were kind of signed on to do all 3 of those, and season 1 did well enough, and I guess they're confident enough in season 2 that they'll get a season 3. So yeah, season 3 has been confirmed, even though we haven't even watched. Most people haven't even watched season 2 yet. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do after season 3, but we have some time before that happens, and we still have to watch season 2 in the meantime. Looking forward to that. Circling back to Tomb Raider, and speaking of TV shows, the Amazon's Tomb Raider TV show, which was being produced by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, which for like Fleabag and a bunch of other really great shows. But that show with Amazon is reportedly dead. So I saw an article this week kind of talking through that we haven't heard any news about it in a while, and I think people are starting to move on to other projects. So Amazon's kind of Tomb Raider show is apparently not going to happen. So that's unfortunate. I think a lot of people were looking forward to kind of more Tomb Raider content. I know that anime came out recently. So maybe that'll be the Tomb Raider content until we get another live action Tomb Raider, which, I think you should bring Alicia Vikander back, but, that's just me. That's it for this week. Let me know if you feel I forgot anything down below in the comments, or hit me up on Discord. I always love chatting video game news in there. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye!